In this video, I will explain to you how to complete a document analysis. Here are the instructions. Now, if you are absent, you're clicking on this link, which brought you to this video. The next instruction says to number our paragraphs. So you can choose any writing tool and number each paragraph. Number 1 starts with one of. Number 2 starts with the Romans. And number 3 starts with another important. Now we're going to highlight the focus question. As you can see here, the focus question is highlighted. How did Roman achievements impact our modern world? And you'll see that you're going to write one writing response together with the teacher, and then you'll do one on your own. It says, as you read, highlight the words that answer the questions, and then use the ACE format to answer the focus question. So what I like to do first is just read it once with no annotations. The title of the source is The Lasting Impact of the Roman Empire. One of the most significant achievements of Rome was the establishment of the Roman Republic around 509 BCE. This system of government allowed citizens to elect representatives to make decisions on their behalf. This gave citizens a voice in their government. The Roman Republic also introduced the idea of civic duty. Citizens were expected to vote, serve in the military, participate in jury duty, and pay taxes. These concepts influenced many modern democracies, including the United States. For example, the founding fathers of the U.S. studied the Roman Republic to create a system that protects the rights of its citizens. Today, we still use elements of this system, such as having elected officials and the idea that the government should serve the people. The Romans were master builders and engineers. They created a vast network of roads, aqueducts, and bridges that improved transportation and communication across the empire. One of their most famous structures is a Colosseum, a grand amphitheater used for entertainment. Roman engineering techniques, such as the use of arches and concrete, allowed for the construction of impressive buildings that have stood the test of time. These innovations laid the groundwork for modern architecture and engineering practices. Many buildings today still use Roman architectural styles such as columns and domes. Another important achievement was the development of Roman law. The Romans created a system of laws that applied to all citizens, which helped maintain order and justice in the empire. The 12 tables, created in the mid-5th century BCE, were one of the first written codes of law in history. This idea of having a written legal code is fundamental to the many legal systems today, including that of the United States. Roman law introduced principles such as innocent until proven guilty and the right to a fair trial, essential components of modern justice systems. Okay, so we read it once. And now our focus is, how did Roman achievements impact our modern world? So just by skimming what we just read, there are 3 main topics. And what we're going to do is box them up. So the first one is the Republic. And I'm going to change colors for the second one. The second one was building and engineering. So I'll just box that up. And then the third one is Roman law. So now when I find some details about each of these, I'm going to color code those details. Let us begin with the first topic on the Roman Republic. So when I annotate, I'm going to highlight, using the same color, facts that describe the Roman Republic. And the second part of our question here is, how did it impact our modern world? So first, some of it will be what the Roman Republic was like. That will be highlighted. And then I'm going to underline, using the same color, how it impacted our modern world. So this system of government allows citizens to elect representatives. So we're going to highlight citizens elect representatives to make decisions on their behalf. This gave citizens a voice in their government. The Roman Republic also introduced the idea of civic duty, where citizens were expected to vote, serve in the military, and participate in jury duty, and of course pay taxes. These concepts influence many modern democracies, including the United States. For instance, the founding fathers of the U.S. studied the Roman Republic to create a government that protects the rights of citizens. So, using the same color, it influenced modern democracies like the U.S., where we created a government that protects the rights of citizens. And it says here we use elements of this system because we have elected officials and we believe that the government should serve the people. That wasn't always the case, especially in monarchies. It was to serve the king or queen. As I begin the next paragraph, I will switch my color to blue. And again, I'm going to highlight the words that describe what the Romans' buildings were like, and then I'm going to underline how it impacted our modern world. So Romans were master builders and engineers. They created a vast network of roads, aqueducts, and bridges that improved transportation and communication across the empire. So these things led to improved transportation and communication. One of their most famous structures is the Colosseum, a grand amphitheater used for entertainment. So we know about the Colosseum. Roman engineering techniques, such as the use of arches and concrete, allowed for the construction of impressive buildings that have stood the test of time. So you can tell by the next words that we're starting to talk about the future, how it impacted the future. Innovations laid the groundwork for modern architecture and engineering practice. So it laid the groundwork for modern architecture because many buildings today still use Roman architectural styles. So we still use Roman architectural styles like columns and domes. And now we move on to our final paragraph, which has to do with Roman law. So once again, you've probably got the hang of it. We're going to highlight words that describe Roman law, and then we're going to underline examples of how it influences our world today. The Romans created a system of laws that applied to all citizens. So this is a key feature, is that it applied to all citizens. And what this does, it helps maintain order and justice. The 12 tables, created in the mid-5th century, were one of the first written codes of law in history. This idea of having written legal code is fundamental to many legal systems today. So the idea of having a written legal code is in many legal systems today, including the U.S. Roman law introduced principles such as innocent until proven guilty and the right to a fair trial that is essential components of modern justice systems. So if I zoom out, you can easily, if I were to ask a question, what were 3 ways the Roman achievements impacted our world, you could point to the 3 achievements easily, looking at the 3 boxed terms: the Republic, builders and engineers, and Roman law. If I wanted you to give me a little more detail, you would look at what's highlighted for each one. And then if I asked you the question, how did it impact our world, you'd look for the underlining. It is important when you annotate that you don't highlight too many words. You're just focusing on the words that directly answer the question.